let us all do we can to build a better future. Twitter beef, Dan.
Yes.
We got some Twitter beef between two high-profile individuals who have the coveted blue check mark. Now, I want to be very clear. I respect both these individuals, but let's face it, they're human beings just like us, and we should never hero worship anyone, whether they got a coveted blue check mark, whether they are a politician, whether they're an actor, actress, or anything else, or they're a YouTuber or anything, because apparently there's a Twitter war or Twitter or... not
as exciting as the pizza wars.
No, it's not. Actually, let me clarify. There is a artificially created or idea that there's a Twitter conflict between Bernie Sanders and Elon Musk, which in fact that there isn't.
But there also is at the same time.
And there's a bigger conversation that's being ignored, that because of course you're going to have Elon Musk fans and Bernie Sanders fans and other people commenting in between. So let's pull this article.
And then there's popcorn aficionados like ourselves.
Exactly. So let's pull up this article from RT America. Don't tell Rachel Maddow, she might go crazy. So Elon Musk responded to being called greedy by trying to explain his multi-planetary vision to United States Senator Bernie Sanders, but the Vermont Democrat said the focus needs to be on wealth redistribution, not reaching to the stars. I'm for both.
Yeah.
So
why can't we do both?
Yeah. Why can't we do both? A Twitter roll between a self-described Democratic Socialist senator and a self-made billionaire began on Thursday when Senator Bernie Sanders complained that Musk and Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, also known as the dime store version of Lex Luthor, own more wealth than the bottom 40% of Americans. And let's be very clear, the top 1% has done very well since the COVID-19 disaster, and it's still ongoing. That level of greed and inequality is not only immoral, he said it's unsuitable. Notwithstanding the fact that Musk and Bezos are both tech entrepreneurs who have created billions of dollars in wealth and thousands of jobs, Musk focused his response on the purpose of his $162 billion fortune. He went on to tweet this out. Let's say, I think we might have the tweet there, but I don't think it's, oh, there's the quote of it. Right there. I am accumulating resources to help make life multiplanetary and extend the light of consciousness to the stars. Musk tweeted on Sunday in reply to an article about Sanders' attack. The South African immigrant to the United States is founder of the aerospace company SpaceX, among other companies, and he aims to help colonize Mars. We're going to the red planet, folks. Investors have been captivated by Musk's vision for space and electric vehicles to the extent that he's now ranked by Forbes as the second richest person on the planet, only behind Jeff Bezos. His fortune is tied up primarily in Tesla and SpaceX shares, but Sanders seemed unimpressed and entirely focused on how the pie is divided, not the size of the pie. Space travel is an exciting idea, but right now we need to focus on Earth and create a progressive tax system so that children don't go hungry, people are not homeless, and all Americans have health care. And it is said in response to Musk, the level of inequality in America is obscene and a threat to our democracy, both of which are true.
Very quickly point out that there's got to be something that either, if this was a Bernie tweet, like so Eli was making a good point in chat, this is not the one he fully controls, so it might not even be him that's making this, which is Kit's point about this might not be a real Twitter beef.
Yeah.
And why it seems a little bit of a weird targeting system.
It is.
But if it is Bernie, something that he's either wearing, either shoes, clothes, whatever, or something he's holding like his phone and not being connected to a wall, only is the case because of technological advancements made when going to the moon. So people forget that a huge amount of technology gets spun off for really helpful consumer use in space.
Now, there were a couple people who did comment on this. No big problem is ever solved inside the box. Author and self-described space wonk Greg Autry said, making the resource pie bigger is the only way to improve the lives of everyone, reduce conflict, and save our climate. Writer and universal basic income advocate Scott Sadden said Sanders is creating a false dichotomy in suggesting that America has to choose between exploring space and fighting poverty. Please don't play into the zero-sum scarcity thinking, he said. We can and should do both. The government doesn't need Musk's wealth. We can just end poverty. It's a matter of will, not resource limits. And I want to add on to this before I get Daniel's commentary on here too. Look, I respect both Bernie Sanders and Elon Musk. Bernie Sanders managed to inspire a lot of people to wake up to the fact that we have a neoliberal economic system. I respect Elon Musk for the fact that, look, SpaceX and Tesla has proven that the technology works. Now, I want to be very clear about this. Sadly, NASA has been underfunded by both the Democrats and Republicans, not only in Congress, but by previous Democratic and Republican presidential administrations. NASA is far behind other space agencies. The European Space Agency, Russian Space Agency, and Chinese space agencies will all respectively in their own right are going to be funding their space programs more. Our United States government right now is wasting trillions of dollars on the military industrial complex. We're wasting so much money into that joint strike fighter that you, Daniel, have covered so many times. Now, because we live in this neoliberal economic system, it's a perfect environment for someone like Elon Musk to rise up. Now, should Elon Musk have this kind of power? The answer is no. Should SpaceX be helping NASA go to the moon? No, but the technology is there. And sadly, unless the American people start demanding more and start protesting more and actually doing a general strike and actually holding the system accountable, nothing is going to change. And at the same time, too, Bernie Sanders is correct in saying we have to end poverty. But that means Bernie Sanders and the progressives in the United States Senate and House have to step up and fight not only the GOP and the Republican neoconservatives, but also the neoliberal Democrats like Senator Joe Manchin, Senator Sinema, and yes, Bernie Sanders' good friend Joe Biden. Because so long as we are stuck in this stagnant neoliberal economic system, we are going to have a privatized space corporation, which should not be the case at all. But this Twitter beef is ignoring, or this simulated Twitter beef is ignoring the fact that we can do both. It should be NASA. In fact, it must be NASA that should be leading the way, but we have politicians that aren't going to fund it. We have politicians that are going to keep on doing these tweets and talking points. You could say all these nice things on Twitter, but unless you're going to fight for it, we need to see some action happen now. Same time, too, Elon Musk should not have all this kind of power, but we live in this world, this crazy upside down world, and if we as citizens don't step up and start demanding more and holding our politicians accountable, nothing will change. And remember, these same politicians are owned by these corporations. Thanks to Citizens United and the McCutcheon decision where money is speech and corporations are people, if we don't have the will, all of us, to really get back our democracy, we are going to be far behind in the space race to where other countries and private corporations will be able to have their say. NASA was created so that we as a country can go into space. And sadly, we're behind. Daniel.
Yeah, it's a very mixed thing. It's like... it's like there's so many better targets. Like Jeff Bezos is way better in every way. It should always be the better choice because Bezos's job creation has literally destroyed millions of other jobs. He destroyed way more jobs than he created. He flattened out the pay system way more than he added to it. He just sucked up basically the commerce of, I don't know, like however many percentage points of U.S. businesses that fell because of Amazon. At least, again, like at least if, of all the billionaires that are out there that we cover, at least Elon is moving electric cars in a good direction, and he's expanding that production. And I mean, let's be real, taking the emissions of a lot of these what do they call them? Dyno cars or ice cars. That's the new term that we're supposed to be using. Ice cars is better. It's good, and it will save thousands of lives in the long term, which is good. And to Kit's point with SpaceX, yeah, would it be better if the government was managing this stuff properly? If we had just continued spending money in space since we went to the moon, and we had done it properly, and what usually happens is like one administration will go in and go, let's prepare for a 10-year mission to the moon. Then like 8 years later, another president will come in when they're 2 years away and go, okay, let's shift all these resources to go to Mars. And then another guy will come in and go, okay, let's start building. So there's no real way for NASA to win the current way we've set them up. So like Kit said, it's like, of course, something like SpaceX is going to be created in America because we do such a terrible job of managing NASA, because we want to put all our money into the military-industrial complex because we still think it's more valuable to go to other people's countries, blow them up, and take their resources, which is why I'm still long-term saying this is why we need space mining, because the only thing that I can think of that is more profitable for hedge funders or people of that nature than going to war would be space mining. It's the only mass thing that they would throw their money into. And if they do that, we don't have the same amount of industry on Earth. We don't need to blow up mountains anymore. We don't need to pollute as many riverways. We don't need to have as much industry here. And it's just much easier in terms of percentage to mine asteroids, because most of the useful metals in Earth are in the mantle or the core. I want to remind everyone, if all the gold underneath the ground, which is mainly around the outer core of the planet, was brought to the surface, it would be 6 feet thick around the entire planet. There's a lot of gold on Earth. We just can't get it, but you can with asteroids. And, well, that's how things are. And
Yeah.
in a big way, I'm saying, wouldn't it be nice if we could do all this? But because America's set up the way it is, Elon has filled that niche.
A couple other things, too, before we end this segment. Number one, as soon as Elon Musk proves that space mining is not only viable, I mean, again, think about how much money that could have been put into NASA so that NASA could have made
NASA should be the one doing this.
I also want to point out, too, that it wasn't too long. It was a few years ago, and correct me if I'm wrong, where Elon Musk said NASA should be getting more funding. NASA should be leading this. Now, again, like the situation that we're in, NASA, unfortunately, is not in that scenario. So I guess it is SpaceX or the European Space Agency.
At least we could say that we're spending way less money not going to Russia to launch our people into space than we are with SpaceX's Dragon.
And on top of that, too, just one other important note. As soon as that Starlink system is set up, it's also going to make internet far more accessible too for a lot of people.
That's going to be weird to see how that goes. I would really like Comcast and AT&T to have some serious competition and Spectrum.
All right. So at the end of the day, why can't we do both? I wish that we could.
This seems like a mistargeted fight.
Yeah.
It's just like there's better people to target, and I really never have liked or believed in the argument we can't go to space and solve stuff on the ground. We're humans. We can do both. We're just too busy fighting over resources.
Yeah. And look, tweets, they're words. Show me actions. That goes to all the progressives. We got to show action, and that means someone like Bernie Sanders has to fight his wonderful friends in the Democratic Party and in the GOP.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Like Bernie, you need to be fighting the Democrats in your party
and the Republicans.
This is an internal debate. You get the political situation set up. You can tax Elon what you want.